Alright, let's do this. I got my guitar, a couple of them behind me too. I'll test out some different sounds. Got my yerba mate, got my push too, and I even got a cat on the back couch. Okay, so my Live 11 guitar rack makes great use of what I refer to as super macros. You may have seen my super macros tutorial about 6 months ago when the Live 11 beta dropped. Which is basically the ability to have down to 1 macro and all the way up to 6 using these plus and minus buttons in this instrument rack. So really my goal here was to make good use of the ability to have increased macros and snapshots, which are essentially presets. So if you miss the boat on these snapshots, it's pretty cool. I can tweak any of these parameters in my macros. I'm going to do it on my push right now. I can just do a simple thing like change the low cut or the high cut. And then you'll see it's created an asterisk, which means I've done a variation of this snapshot. So I could simply press new, and then it would create a new preset with those variations. So let's start with my default sound, which is called Super Clean, and it starts like this. Alright, so what we got under the hood here is a tuner. Everybody needs a tuner, right? Ooh, I'm sharp. And then we got a pedal, and that is mapped to the gain knob. So if I turn that up, yeah, and you can mess between the various algorithms here, distortion, fuzz, etc. Okay, after that, I have an EQ. And really it's just the low cut and the high cut. So it depends on how much low end thump you want and how much high end sheen you want. And then you could go in here past the macros and do any fine tuning that you want. Also remember the minus key minimizes any device that you have selected. And I can also use the arrow keys on my computer keyboard to go right to left to select devices. Okay, so check out the auto filter. That's getting used in this second snapshot, which is called muted wah. Let's check this out. It's like an envelope filter, but it's a very mild, right? It's like a little bit of filtering there. So what I'm doing is sidechaining it to itself and have a little bit of this envelope in the negative direction. So what that's doing is every time I send it signal, essentially what's happening, you can't see it visibly, but this filter frequency is slightly moving in that direction into like darker or lower or smaller frequencies. Like if I just turn this off with the number 0, you can hear the difference. Back on. And that is mapped to the wah. So all the way down here, it's not really in use at all. All the way out. Definitely darker. After that, I have the amp and the cabinet. So these are really the brains of the entire unit here. If I turn them off, listen to the difference. So on, turn these off. Big difference. And then the saturated and the warm tube are basically my version of having a tube amp and maybe having like a tube screamer on one or something. Like the saturator would be a tiny little bit of like distortion or fuzz. If I turn those off, just gives me a little extra bump, little extra attitude. And then the auto pan here is for when I am messing with tremolo, which is mapped to trem amount. So check that out. That's pretty neat. And then this is fun. I have grain delay with the pitch setting up an octave. And that is mapped, the dry wet of that is mapped to this octave up macro. And listen to what it does. Pretty cool. Kind of like one of those Electro-Harmonix POG pedals. Then I just have a delay, kind of your standard thing. You can hear that in this setting right here with the edge, tribute to U2. And so the time is mapped as well as the amount to the dry wet, and then the feedback, how many taps you want, right? And then at the end, just got some glue so that can overall make this louder. And then we have the hybrid reverb. If you got my guitar template from Live 10, you might have noticed that I was using the Max for Live convolution reverb patch. So now this is hybrid reverb, and I have it 100% on the convolution reverb, and because I can get various spring settings. So unfortunately, this particular setting cannot be macro mapped. If you see, I turn on my macro mapping, the actual preset cannot be mapped. So you'd have to go in and change those manually. And then last of all, limiter, because you got to practice safe sound design. So really, some really cool springs in here. Like I love this clean spring slapback. Check this one out. It's very neat. I also love this long stereo spring. So experiment with those. All right, so we kind of went through the first three settings, but let me just review them. We got super clean. Sounds great. You could really set up your gain stage so that you'll get like no distortion at all if you don't want it. Then the muted wah. Then, as I mentioned, the edge. Okay, so now I got some Stratocaster settings. This Jimmy SRV kind of speaks for itself. '60s surf. Yeah, gotta love that one. Some slapback reverb there. All right, clean blues, similar to super clean, but it just has the blues setting on your amp. You could also mess with a delay. You could take it off or keep it on. Mess with the time, the amount. Ooh, one of my favorites, Eno. Love Brian Eno. He got me into this whole production thing. So that's really making use of the grain delay over here. Very cool. Blue Children is another kind of whacked out sound designy kind of thing. Yeah. Now, if you want to rock. This is a fun one. This was a happy accident that I found through using the random button, Metal AM Radio. It's kind of neat. It's like hearing metal from the other room. And then the last one, Surf Forever Delay. It's like the surf setting with a forever reverb. It'll go forever and ever and ever. Okay, final piece of the puzzle here. Let's do an old-fashioned shootout between my amp, Amplitube, and Corey Wong's Neural DSP, which are all three things I use them throughout my discography. I'm an active user of all three of these devices. So mine, on the clean setting, I'll play pretty much the same thing on the guitar, so. All right, that was me. Now let's do Amplitube. Amplitube feels a little bit more full on the low end, but there are some of the clean, crispy things I like better about my rack in Live 11. All right, Corey Wong, clean as a whistle preset. So I think the Corey Wong standing on its own needs the most TLC, at least for my guitar playing. So I've gotten some good results out of it, but the interesting thing is it's actually the most expensive thing you're looking at here. So back to mine. Amplitube. See, now the Amplitube sounds a little bit dark, like I want more high end on it. What happens if I turn off the vintage warmer? It's the same, just quieter. All right, so hope you dig. I got a free version of this that has a few of the presets, and then if you want the deluxe, just throw me a few dollars on my Gumroad. Thanks for watching. I also give private lessons, so hit me up. Releasing lots of music this summer. About to release an EP with my good friend Emancipator that drops in July. The first single is Friday, May 21st. And Koi Pond 2 with the Soul Food Horns will be out in the early fall. So lots of music coming. By Halloween, I'll probably have like 15 or 16 more songs in my discography, so watch out for it. And I'll always have new tutorials coming for you. I think I'm gonna do like themed tutorials with this amp rack. So I might do like some psych rock stuff or some ambient regenerative kind of ideas. So stay tuned for it. Like and subscribe, turn the bell on, yada yada.